Ketchikan. Welcome to Healthy Minds, a collaboration between KPU TV and Ketchikan Wellness Coalition. Today you have your host, me, Brittany Pope, licensed professional counselor with View Out Counseling, and
I'm Shelly Hill, owner of Wildfire and Sage. I practice herbalism, I teach yoga, and I also am a certified health coach. Mainly in town, I make herbal products, various herbal teas, and health and beauty products.
And she has a tea called the Wild Woman Tea. I always keep it stocked up in my kitchen because it is one of my favorites. So that kind of brings us into what got you into doing all this. Where did you come from?
Where did I come from? So I practiced yoga for a very long time. I've probably been practicing for 10 or 12 years. And along with yoga is Ayurvedic practices, or Ayurveda. And it's a sister science to yoga, and it's kind of the health and wellness side as like diets, and they have like doshas, which are in Southern folk medicine, which is what I'm trained in. It's kind of like a constitution, or it'd be similar to Chinese medicine, with the different elements.
Got it. And so you use the same 7 chakras that they use?
Well, the chakras are part of it.
Okay.
But it's not, those aren't your constitutions.
Got it.
Your constitution is Pitta, Kapha, or Vata, and it's fire, water, or earth. And everybody has all 3 of those, but you have a dominant and a second dominant.
Right.
So anyway, I was really into that and into practicing Ayurveda for a while. And as I got older and like through college, I just started having this question of where am I from? Which seems like an odd question to have.
Yeah.
In relation to this, but I started to believe and pick up and practice in a way that, you know, I should use what comes from the land that I'm from or the land that I'm on to heal what my body's going through. And where I still love turmeric and ginger and all those spices, because spices are herbs too, I started to look at the plants in my area. So I'm from Tennessee originally, and when I was picking my herbal school, I chose one that was steeped in Southern folk medicine.
Right.
Because I'm a Southern girl. And so that's the longish short of it.
Okay, so you're from Tennessee. You came to Ketchikan as a seasonal, and then really put down roots here. And your teas have been, I mean, in shops around Ketchikan. So you use local products, anything that you can get local.
Yeah, well, yes.
Okay.
Yes, is the
short.
It's the short of it again. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, so you use local products. You really try to use local things that
I use the plants that grow in our environment locally to help inspire and create the products that I make.
Got it. Like you have a Devil's Club.
So this is a really good example, is yes, I have the Tongass Immunity Tea.
Right, okay.
And it's got 4 ingredients. It's nettle, which nettle does grow in Alaska, but I actually am not sure if it grows in Southeast. I haven't found it yet. Doesn't mean it's not here, just haven't found it. And then there's Devil's Club, orange peel, which obviously oranges don't grow in Southeast Alaska either. And then Old Man's Beard. Okay. And Devil's Club and Old Man's Beard are 2 of my favorite herbs to illustrate using what's from the land. So in herbalism, most of you probably know, even if you don't have a clue about herbalism, what echinacea is. And it's a flower, and it's used to boost your immunity system. And it's like, I feel like there's these certain herbs and flowers that they have all this hype for what they do.
Right.
And so echinacea is one with a lot of hype. And it's great, I love it. But echinacea doesn't grow here in Ketchikan.
Right.
But what does grow here is Old Man's Beard. And Old Man's Beard has the same properties, if not a more potent immunity booster than echinacea.
Oh, that's interesting.
So Mother Nature has put a plant in place of another plant in the environment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really good for our audience to know.
Right.
That this is growing right in our
And you know
backyards.
what? The only thing people could tell me when I first got here was you could start a fire with it if it was wet. Like, I'm like, do you know how awesome this plant is?
Yeah. Do you do educational classes in town for people?
So I haven't started yet.
Okay.
I feel that I need to know everything before I teach it, and I forget that, like, oh, I do have a nice little bed of knowledge that most people don't have that I should just share.
Well, you share it with your friends very well. Like, I know
Oh my gosh,
that
yes.
whenever I have something going on, I'm like, please let me know what I need to take. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, it works.
Hey.
And so that's the kind of knowledge. And one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on here, because you do have such a nice, like, foundation of your understanding of Alaskan herbal plants, whatever can help, whatever you need. And you have a nice understanding of outside of Alaska too, which is your southern medication, your southern herbalism class. So Healthy Minds really focuses on mindfulness, stress is what we've kind of the chain of episodes that we've done. And so how do you, like, if I come to you as a client, you're a health coach, and I come to you and say, hey, I'm stressed, 9 out of 10, I don't know how to deal with it, I don't want to take medication, is there something that you would help guide them through?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think what's really interesting is the society that we live in wants a quick fix. So a lot of people would come and say, this is what's going on, can you help me? And I always start with, I love our plant allies, I love herbalism, but they're like 5th on the list. So, you know, I'm going to check in with you on your diet, lifestyle, are you exercising, are you moving your body, are you hydrating, and then are you getting enough sleep? And a lot of those have to do with routines. One of my favorite things is sleep hygiene. But
well, it's important.
So then,
it's important.
Oh my
Sleep
gosh.
hygiene is, and I go over this with clients, I call it routine. A morning routine and an evening routine. It's so important. And a lot of times people aren't successful because they don't have it.
right.
And I think we think, well, I want to be laid back and I just want to be laissez-faire. And that's really great. You can do that and still have a routine.
Right. Well, so connecting with the stress and all of that, actually, I was in an herb class a couple years ago at a conference, and I'm pretty sure it was on stress, kind of like what we're talking about now. And I never thought about when I think of stress, and I don't know if you think the same thing, it's outside stressors, work, relationships, people pulling you in directions, you going everywhere. But what's important is our body temperature needs to stay the same. So, like, if you even get a shiver, that's a stress on the body. If you aren't eating at the same times every day, that's a stressor on your body. Any, like, change like that affects the same way, because our body can't tell, you know.
Right.
You know, I mean, if it's being chased by a lion, obviously there's the adrenaline for running to make everything get you away from there.
Right.
But you know, it's the same. If you're too hot, too cold, you've got to keep that equilibrium in your body. Because if you don't, it's a stressor. And think about how many people, who honestly stops what they're doing at 12 o'clock on the dot and eats, right?
I don't see any hands raised. It's just you and I.
I know, but like,
right.
or, you know, whatever your routine is, and if your body doesn't know when it's going to get its next meal, then that's just as stressful as a deadline for your job.
Well, and that's the, Janae Meyer and I talked about intuitive eating. And what you're describing is keeping that routine, but also listening to your body. And a lot of times we get too preoccupied with work deadlines or this or I have to do that we don't even stop to have a simple snack. Even if it's not a full lunch, having that snack at the same time that you maybe would normally eat lunch. That makes sense. So, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was like, no, you go.
No, it sounds like you had something really good to say.
I didn't. I mean, I got really excited just about life. It's okay. You go.
This is Shelly's energy all the time, which is really why it's great to work with her. Don't worry, she tones it down a little bit for yoga, right?
Yeah, I got my yoga teacher voice.
So with stress, you know I had worked out one time with a personal trainer and they had mentioned adaptogens. And I think that's something that I had even texted you about that said, hey, have you heard of this? Is that something that you would recommend? So after we do step 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right, and now we're into plants.
Now we're into the plants, or we're into the herbal vitamins type realm.
Thanks for keeping me on track.
You're welcome.
So adaptogens are good for fatigue
Okay.
in general, or fatigue in general, which could be caused by thyroid or adrenal, not adrenaline. And so basically an adaptogen is a certain kind of plant or a certain set of plants. Not every plant is an adaptogen. And it helps your body adapt to different stresses in the body. So
Okay.
and it's universal. It doesn't help just your nervous system like nervine herbs do, or it doesn't help just your kidneys or your liver. But if your kidneys are stressed and your adrenals are stressed, it can divide and conquer and help both of those.
Oh, okay. So it's like a little boost.
Yeah, so it supports the production. I have my little notes here, guys.
Well, I wouldn't
Sorry.
expect you to remember everything.
I know.
This is a lot of information.
So it supports the production of stress-related neurotransmitters and hormones.
Oh, okay.
That's the scientific.
Well, you know what's interesting is your neurotransmitters, that if you aren't listening to your body, you're not taking care of your needs. You talked about the fear-based response. That can actually inhibit feedback to your brain.
Right.
So if you're not focusing on your needs, it can inhibit feedback to your brain. So your amygdala, which is the fear response system, maybe will misfire and create fear,
Right.
or misfire or create too much adrenaline. So
it's
it's all connected. That's interesting.
Totally, yeah. It's going to drain all of those systems down because it doesn't know.
Yeah, totally. And that's when you get those survival behaviors. That's when you get those behaviors that is outside of your value set, that it's like, whoa, this isn't me, but I'm hungry. This is me hungry.
Right, like kind of what I did on a basket of chicken wings the other night.
Where is there chicken wings in this town?
I don't want to talk about it.
Absolutely. So you go to those places that you normally wouldn't go to with stress or fatigue if you're not taking care. So first would be taking care of all my needs. Second would be, okay, what boost do I need to support that? So an adaptogen is an option. If someone comes to see you and you recommend an adaptogen, do you recommend they talk to their doctor if they're on any other sort of?
So if you're going to do if you're the kind of person that does talk to your doctor, yes, I encourage you to talk to your doctor. I did not go to medical school. I know a good deal. I can tell you what herbs interfere with what drugs. But no, I'm not a doctor, and I don't seek to treat as such.
Okay.
Which is very important
Sure,
to
absolutely.
be stated.
Yeah. Well, it's the same as therapists. I can tell you and educate you about SSRIs or medication, mood stabilizers, but I can't prescribe them for you. And I always have to put the disclaimer in there, talk to your doctor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it's a good practice.
If you are a person who talks to your doctor, then you should talk to your doctor.
Okay.
Or seek a medical professional if,
With adaptogens, so they really help support your body. They help support, just give you that. I kind of see it as an energy boost. Give you that just a little bit of energy.
It can be, but there's 3 types of adaptogens. So herbalism, it can be very intricate. So not any adaptogen will work for you. You have to figure out, let me back up. There's stimulating adaptogens, balancing, and calming. So a stimulating adaptogen is one that I take personally is American ginseng, which is a stimulating adaptogen, and it helps me with my adrenal fatigue.
Got it. Okay.
That's kind of that example there. And there's a few others that I can't think of off the top of my head. And then balancing adaptogens are going to help balance the body. And calming could be if you are really high stressed, your body doesn't need to be stimulated.
Right.
So you're looking for something to help calm it and bring it down.
Right.
And calming ones are going to work really well also along with other nervines or sedatives that help.
Your nervous system or help calming. Okay. That's interesting. What about fatigue? Do these things help with fatigue?
Yeah.
So you would kind of the same route.
That's what adaptogens kind of help you do is with fatigue. It's fatigue in general. That's kind of their specialty.
Got it. Okay, so we just talked about adaptogens, and you keep mentioning nervines. Can you give us an idea of what those are?
So nervines are herbs that strengthen and support the nervous system.
Okay.
And some of those examples would be on the mood side of things like lemon balm, St. John's wort, mimosa. They just help keep your mood.
A mimosa?
Not that kind of mimosa. There's actually, they don't, They don't grow here in Southeast, but they're a great tree in the South. It looks like a Dr. Seuss tree. Their flowers are really airy and spherical. And they're just a really cool plant, and they also smell delightful. And it's a mimosa flower or a mimosa tree.
And they make that into a vitamin or an herb.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
It's not champagne and orange juice. I guess oranges come from trees. So you could call that a mimosa tree too. I don't know. So if you're looking to help with stress and anxiety, nervine herbs or sedative herbs are helpful for that. And the difference between a nervine herb and a sedative herb, because a sedative has a connotation in our society.
Right, a sedative can be like Xanax, or those are what's thought in the medical field. So this is different.
Yes, that's different, completely different in general. So like I said, nervines help strengthen your nervous system, whereas sedatives help to calm it down.
Got it.
So it's not going to put you to sleep. It's not going to put you out of your body or make you feel foggy like pharmaceutical sedatives will. But what it'll do, a nice gentle sedative is like chamomile tea.
Oh, okay. So we're talking really like just something to help you, which is in sleepy time tea. That is something that I use. Okay.
Skullcap is another sedative, along with kava that they drink in Hawaii. It's pretty well known. And then my actual favorite go-to herb for anxiety is passion flower.
Interesting.
It works really well.
Okay, so. And that doesn't obviously grow here.
It does not grow here either.
Is there anything locally that you would
help with?
With help with anxiety or stress? Besides you said the
plant. Well, the only one that I have come across at the moment and it's kind of a long shot, would be Devil's Club, because Devil's Club is in the ginseng family, the Panax family, and it's an adaptogen.
Okay.
So it can at least help your body with the stress of what happens with an anxiety attack or stress in general. Got it. But the short answer is no. I haven't found a plant that's like passion flower for here that grows here.
Good to know. So I'm not digging in my backyard for passion flower.
Yeah.
So we talked about all three of the nervine, the sedative, and then the adaptogen, right? All three different purposes. So people come to you and they say, okay, I'm going to try these, but is there anything I can do too? What would you recommend for maybe it's mindfulness or yoga? What would you tell people?
Well, I like meditation. And I think that people, when they think about meditation, they think that they have to sit a certain way, they have to think a certain thing or chant or whatever. But meditation for me, is so much easier than that. It's literally sitting still. So if I'm stressed out, overwhelmed, possibly feeling an anxiety attack coming on, I like to just stop, and then I want to engage all of my senses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feel, if I'm sitting or standing, I'm going to feel the earth below me and know that I'm supported. Then I'm going to, smell the air or feel the air around my body, and I'm going to listen. I'm going to see if I can identify one sound. Then I'm going to see if I can identify 2 sounds, 3 sounds. All the while, I'm trying to engage all of this. I'm deeply breathing. And if you're a shallow breather, which most of us are, we don't realize that we don't breathe as deeply as we should.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a huge, dramatic breath. It's just a focus on intentional breathing as you're connecting with your surroundings.
I love that, because that in therapy we call grounding techniques.
Yeah.
You essentially ground yourself. And I love that you said, I feel what's like whatever the earth underneath me and I feel supported, because anxiety or stress, usually it's isolating, right? And so meaning there's a gap between being present and where we are. And so to ground yourself, you get yourself back to being present.
Right.
And I love that I'm being supported. I usually tell clients to think about I'm safe. I'm safe, which is exactly what you're thinking is I'm supported, I'm safe.
Right.
Which then grounds you back. So that's a really nice technique for you guys to try at home. Make sure you're supported too. Like make sure you're either laying down or sitting in a chair. You don't want to be standing and doing this.
Well,
you think? What do you?
obviously, if you're in it, in an anxiety attack, but I like to do it when I'm walking around Ward Lake. I like to kind of do it wherever I am, because normally if I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed, nature ultimately is what keeps me completely grounded.
Got it.
I practice herbalism. Like,
Right.
that's
You
the
have to-
connection.
Well, you have to do the work. I mean,
Right.
if you didn't do what you were telling people,
Right.
how are you going to know?
Exactly. And,
Absolutely.
But so for me, and there'll be a correlation too. If I haven't been able to get outside and sit on a park bench or walk around the lake and see what's growing and see what's happening, I start to get antsy. It's the same as when we don't exercise, right? Our body gets sore and tired and achy, and I just find that my attitude gets sore and tired and achy if I don't get to
Totally.
be outside. So, you can ground anytime.
Right.
But yes, I like to physically be outside if I can when I practice that. But yeah, you're completely right. If you can't get outside or it's raining or it's snowing, totally lay down, put your legs up the wall, and connect with your space and the earth that way.
I love that you brought in exercise, because I know, when I ask questions in my assessments, it's, hey, are you exercising? Because it is a foundational, the way you exercise and the way that you healthy eating and your lifestyle. So if someone said, what sort of exercise should I be doing? What would you suggest to them? And obviously they need to confer with their doctor. You need to confer with your doctor based on your physical limitations. So I want to lay that out there.
Right.
So we're not
over the whole umbrella.
Yep.
Talk to your doctor.
Yes.
So if you're looking for things to calm the body down, obviously yoga, Tai Chi, walking. I am a fiery person, so something that I wouldn't do would be like hot yoga or extreme,
Zumba.
well, I don't know, Zumba could be fun. Dancing's good for the spirit too.
It is, you're right. And music connects you, which is another nice
Right,
thing.
right. So Zumba, yeah, I throw some Zumba in there.
But for calming,
You
you think that calms people? I guess it could. You could just get the energy
think about
out.
it, yeah,
that's
because you
true.
get it out,
Yeah.
it's released,
Yeah.
and then you're settled back into
True.
your body.
Okay.
And it connects you to your body, right?
Yeah.
So, all exercise connects you to your body.
Right.
But I just think you probably don't want to play dodgeball.
Everybody, 10 o'clock tomorrow, dodgeball tournament, right?
Right.
Not happening.
I'm just
Totally.
often when I think about it, I just think about it logically. I try,
Right.
And it seems so silly because yoga could be stressful if you can't calm your mind too.
Totally.
So you got to find what works for you.
Well, and some people say running works for me, walking works for me.
Both meditations.
Where can they go in Ketchikan to walk or run?
Well, anywhere. I guess it depends on, it depends on how far you want to run.
What's your serene environment for being around plants and nature? What are your
my
suggestions?
quickest, fastest route is Ward Lake.
Okay.
I am in a serious love affair with Ward Lake.
Okay. And
We
it's
might get married in
accessible.
the spring. Yeah.
It's accessible too. Ward Lake is
so you can
accessible
pull
to
up,
everybody.
you can walk. The trail is really nicely maintained. It's a mile long. So it's not, you can do it in less than an hour. When you live a fast-paced life, which it's funny that fast-paced life and Ketchikan can even be in the same sentence because it's so not compared to the lower 48. But
Right.
yeah, you get out there, get some Mother Nature in your life, and then get back to work.
I love that idea about even doing it during the workday. I know I take an hour lunch and I try to go out to lunch with someone but I could really skip going out to lunch and doing something free.
Right.
And something better. And I know even at lunch today, I was looking at my email, and then finally I was like, I need to shut this down. And I turned my phone upside down. But if I have easy access to distractions, I'm going to continue on the path
Of distraction.
right? So
I would say in town too, walking the dock's my favorite. There's not plants on the dock, but there are the mountains. So.
yeah, or in the water, which is also
Yeah.
connecting. So Shelly gave us some really good tips. Again, talk with your doctor. Neither one of us are doctors, but she has a really good knowledge in herbs, Alaskan herbs and plants, and yoga. You know, you've been teaching yoga for 10 years. I mean, that's...
No, I've been practicing for 10 years.
For 10 years.
I've only been teaching off and on for 4. Time flies when you're
And do you
having fun.
teach locally?
So I was teaching at the rec center, and I took a break from that, and I will start teaching again this April. I'm going to teach in the Main Street Gallery on Thursdays from 5:30 until probably 7. I'm still actually debating to do 60 or 90 minutes. I really love a 90-minute class.
Absolutely.
So,
It gives you 90 minutes to just focus on your movement,
Yeah.
stretch, and really be mindful. I love that. So you're teaching Thursdays, Main Street Gallery, starting in April, 5:30,
oh, it's $5.
and $5 to attend. Awesome. That's so inexpensive.
It's the cheapest yoga
Yeah.
in town besides the free one at the library.
Yeah, yes, which we have talked about in several episodes. So you teach yoga. Can you just give us a way to contact you?
Yes, you can contact me. Well, I'm on social media,
Okay.
Facebook and Instagram, or you can shoot me an email at wildfireandsage, all spelled out, wildfireandsage@gmail.com.
Okay, and then Wildfire and Sage is your Instagram and your Facebook handle. Okay, awesome. So you can get her on Facebook. Again, you can find me on Facebook if you want to, Brittany Pope Counseling, or Be Well Counseling. Thank you guys. Thank you, Ketchikan. Be you, be happy, and continue to be well.